Hello everyone, this is Marathon Films here with another movie review on a movie I just recently got back in seeing, and that's Star Wars: The Last Jedi. It was directed by Rian Johnson and was released December 15th, 2017, last week. And this movie, as of now, as of Christmas Day, it was the number one movie opening weekend, and it made $220,009,584. And as of now, or actually as of Christmas Day, December 25th, its worldwide release has made $815,827,411, and it's still rising. So, like I said, this film was directed by Rian Johnson, who is kind of a new director at this point. Like, he's done small films, like he's got films called May, Brick, and Looper, which were very small, like experimental short films. And I believe this is his biggest like movie that he's done. And the film was released by Walt Disney Studios, who own the rights to all the Star Wars films. And it stars Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, which this is the last film for her because she died last summer, so may the force be with her. And yeah, there is a tribute at the end. Sorry for spoiler. There will be spoilers, just saying. There is a tribute at the end of the film to her. And also stars Adam Driver and Daisy Ridley and the rest of the cast from The Force Awakens besides Harrison Ford. So this film starts off with, not rebellion. Okay, rebellion. I'm just gonna call them rebellion because that's what I'm used to calling them. And they are under attack by the First Order. I get that right. The First Order, who plans on, by Supreme Leader Snoke, to destroy their home-based planet. So they narrowly escape the planet, but as an X-Wing fighter destroys Snoke's Imperial Star Destroyer, I'm sorry, I'm old school. I'm just gonna call him what I remember calling him by. And they destroy his Star Destroyer and destroy that first ship. Although they end up somehow tracking the main ship of the Rebel Alliance as they go even when they go in the light speed. So then they track down the Rebel Alliance and start killing them and weaken their ships, weaken their shields, up until the Rebel Alliance is just sitting in thin air, just being shot down, don't know what to do at this point. So then Finn and this new girl Rose go and find a code hacker to get in the Snoke ship and hack the ship in attempts to destroy the First Order. And so as this happens, they go on this planet, like casino sort of planet, and they run into some harsh deals. They get arrested, and they're trying to figure a way to help out the Rebel Alliance as they're trying to escape this prison. Well, as they're in this prison, they meet a code hacker, not the one they were searching for, but a code hacker, who hacks the jail cell and frees them, and they end up freeing these big bull-like animals, and as well as some like slave children. And as this all is going on, and they're trying to get into the ship, there's another end of the story where there's Rey, who towards the end of Force Awakens and is now there, meets Master Luke Skywalker, who asks him to train her in the Force and in the Jedi ways. And Luke is, being stubborn and being like, I can't train you, it's not going to happen because of what happened to Kylo Ren, or Ben Solo. So as this is going on, Rey is trying to learn the Force, and trying to think she's doing it right, but Luke corrects her and says it's not just lifting up boulders, it's not just lifting things up, it's not just about good and evil, there's more to the Force. It's a feeling, an emotion, there's like a religion to it, but there's like the Jedi religion, which I don't know if it's actually true this day and age, but just for the film purpose, it's a religion. And as this happens, she has a little, like, speaks to Kylo Ren through the Force. Like, she starts talking to Kylo Ren about, like, you know, what, like, Kylo Ren is trying to get her to see the dark side truth, rather than staying on the good side truth. And so as this happens, you know, there's some toss-up between Rey and Luke. Rey knowing that Luke tried to kill Kylo Ren, where Luke is saying, no, he was succumbed by the dark side by Snoke, and I had to get rid of him. So we had two ends of the story here. So later on, Luke decides to burn the tree with the Jedi articles, the books, considered a temple. So he speaks with Master Yoda in ghost form, who is Frank Oz from the original Star Wars, and as well as the Yoda, like the character of Yoda is about the same design as in Episode 5. So then she goes and helps the Rebel Alliance, and as this is going on, the Rebel Alliance are going to ice planet, not Hoth, but some other ice planet, find a hidden base and hide. And as they are leaving, they get into transports and leave. And Rey ends up going to see Kylo Ren on this Star Destroyer, and he takes her prisoner, and they go in front of Snoke. And as this happens, you know, Rey finds some good in Kylo Ren and tries to persuade him that don't follow Snoke. You know, I know there's good in you. Hence Episode 6, Return of the Jedi. And they both, well, Kylo Ren destroys Snoke, splits him in half, and him and Rey start in a lightsaber duel with most of these red guards, not Snoke's red guards. I don't know what name they have. And then she manages to escape, and he tries to persuade her to they join forces and bring order and peace to the galaxy. Well, she resists that and ends up leaving, and they leave the ship. And as this happens, there's some stuff going on, like, you know, everything splits in half. There's like a half thing, like Rey and Kylo Ren try to get Luke's lightsaber, who is actually Anakin Skywalker's lightsaber, the blue lightsaber, and as well as the ship, the main cruiser that the Rebel Alliance was on, everyone evacuated, turns around and hits light speed and slices the ship in half, and also everything is like in parallel, like everything's sliced in half. The ship and Finn and Rose are on the ship with the code hacker. They get arrested, except the code hacker gets some money deal out of it. That splits in half between the two and the stormtroopers. And there's this really cool scene where Finn is in like a laser sword fight with the main stormtrooper lady. I think it's a lady. And it's just a cool fight. And BB-8's there controlling the chicken walker, the AT-ST, and shoots all the stormtroopers while this battle is consuming. So there's many parallels in this film, which I will get back to shortly. So then as the Rebel Alliance go back to the ice planet, the First Order follows them, and it almost assumes almost like the beginning of Episode 5. You know, they got AT-AT walkers, they're going up to just open the big door that shields the Rebel Alliance from the First Order. And as this happens, Luke comes in and has a lightsaber duel with Kylo Ren, what we think is an actual lightsaber duel. So the rest of the Rebel Alliance, which is 15, manages to escape and get on the Millennium Falcon and try to recreate their alliance. And Kylo Ren is like, he was once defeated, and the First Order shies away from everything. So, to get back on this, there's this new guy, like First Order officer named General Hux, who is almost like Grand Moff Tarkin. He has kind of like the same like character, the same like characteristics as Grand Moff Tarkin, almost identical. And there's some like moments. There's so many like comedic stuff in the film, like just some comedy relief, which sometimes ain't necessary and sometimes it's just really. And there's a lot of references from, especially from episode 5, and then another reference from episode 6. And what I mean by this is reference to episode 6 when Kylo Ren brings in Rey to Snoke, and that whole scene of them battling is very similar to episode 6 where Darth Vader turns in Luke in front of Lord Sidious. And that battle consumes, and it's all, even the sound, the music in that scene is very similar to the one in episode 6. There's just, like, that whole scene is just a direct copy of episode 6, as well as, you know, Snoke showing her, you know, the Rebel Alliance being destroyed, and just every little detail in those scenes is a hint of episode 6. And the lightsaber, again, was from Anakin Skywalker, and the blue lightsaber that's passed down to Luke and then to Rey. And the director said it was inspired by many other films besides the Star Wars films that he had his crew watch and got influenced. Like there's 12 O'Clock High, there's A Letter Never Sent, Bridge on the River Kwai, and Three Outlaw Samurai. He referenced those films in this. I've never seen those films, but I believe them. And then there's some, like during Luke's life, that towards the end he disappears with the Force, just like Obi-Wan does. And when you look at when he shaves off all the hair and the beard, he kind of resembles Obi-Wan Kenobi. Just like the costume, towards the end, the climax, everything, the costume resembles Obi-Wan Kenobi that Luke wears. And when he disappears, it's a direct homage to his life. Like you get him disappearing in the 2 sunsets on the island. That is also a homage to when he was a baby on Tatooine at the end of episode 3. He looks out at the two sunsets with Uncle Owen and Beru, hence the beginning of his life as a baby. And it also references episode 4 where he's older and wants to go on adventures, and he looks at the sunset and says, one day I want to get off this planet. I don't know the exact quote, but one day I want to get off this planet and be part of the Rebel Alliance. Which, as he passes away and becomes one with the Force, that scene at the end is a complete reference to 3 and 4 of his life. And to continue, there was many references from episode 5. Many references. The first reference is the emergency evacuation of the Rebel base in the first scene, and as well as, you know, towards the end, you know, the Rebel Alliance, you know, emergency evacuating their bases. There's extended scene, space chase of the Millennium Falcon and the TIE Fighters towards the end, which is a homage to the end of episode 5, where the Falcon is being chased by TIE Fighters while going by the Star Destroyer until it jumps to light speed. That is a direct homage, direct reference to 5 as well. And then there's also the discussion of, you know, parentage, I believe that's the word, of, you know, trying to find out, you know, where's the bloodline, you know, like, you know, Luke and Leia figure, okay, Darth Vader is my father, and, you know, Luke and Leia figure that out, and it's just everything about, you know, ancestral roots that is a big influence. And the last thing is the climax of the film towards the end. It's a direct shot-by-shot of the battle on Hoth with the AT-AT walkers and the ground cruisers. It's just almost identical to the beginning of episode 5. And even there's a guy standing looking at his binoculars. That I don't know if there's evidence that guy was actually in episode 5, but he's looking at binoculars, and we get that viewpoint of him looking through the binoculars at the walkers, just as episode 5 does. Don't know yet if that guy was actually from episode 5, because he looked a lot older, so he could have been a reference, maybe. I'm not sure. Gonna have to look deep into that. And it's just, when I watched this film, it felt like I was watching, like, episode 5 and 6 just at once together. And it just didn't have its own, like, storyline like I thought it would. So it kind of resembled episode 5 and 6. Like, I just watched it halfway through, and towards the end I'm like, oh, I'm just basically watching 5 and 6 again. There's no, anything big about it. So I kind of see where the mixed reviews coming in. And another interesting aspect to look at is, they're looking for, a new star, new hope. Not new hope, but you get what I mean. And the Rebel Alliance is down to like 15 people, including 3PO, Leia, Chewbacca, Rey, and all of them. My priest at my church told me it's like an exact reference to the Old Testament, where there's a battle of 15 soldiers, I believe, and they wait for a new star to come. Hence, in the Old Testament, they're waiting for the Savior, Christ. And that's an exact reference to, like, those 15 Rebel Alliance are waiting for a hope, a new, person to just wipe everything out and have order to the galaxies. So it's kind of like, when you look at Star Wars, it's kind of like, the battle of good versus evil all throughout the trilogy and the saga, actually. And it seems like everything in the Star Wars franchise almost directs, like, Christianity, like, references, like, from the Bible, Old Testament, New Testament. I'm not going to get fully depth in a religion, but just judging by, like, my, what I've heard from my priest myself, that there were many references to Christian, like stories within this episode that he really pinpoint. So, yeah, there was a lot of direct homage to that. So, my thoughts on this movie is, I would say if you're a big Star Wars fan, you've seen all the movies, and you just want to see Star Wars, I would say go for it. But this film really kind of is, I thought I just went just to see it. I'm a big avid Star Wars fan, but I just wasn't that keen into it as I was The Force Awakens. Because both of these movies are almost, trying to recreate the original trilogy, which is what Disney wants to do. And I wouldn't doubt that the next episode would be almost identical to episode 6 more, as this one was identical to 5 and Force Awakens was identical to 4. So I would say just this film was good. A lot of good, like, character development and like CGI. Like, the special effects were great, as well as the score. Score is, great too. It's by John Williams, who's done all the Star Wars films. And yeah, Star Wars is just a big influence in my life, and it's just a great saga I love to watch all the time. So again, that was my review on Star Wars: The Last Jedi. Please also note too, if you've seen the movie, please tell me in the comments what you think about Last Jedi. Please like my video. Comment, tell me what you think about, the potential outcomes of the next film. And, subscribe to my channel. And please, again, just, if you're a big Star Wars fan and you love Star Wars, please just comment on any of your favorite Star Wars films. I'd be gladly to comment on those too. So again, this is Marathon Films. And please subscribe, and thank you for watching.